Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and you're watching the 18th episode of the lore Q&A. So today I'll be answering some of the questions you guys left in the previous video. If you'd like to get your questions answered, it is as previous, either leave your questions on the lore Q&A videos, and it is best if you put them on the newest ones because those are the ones usually checked. And also you can send your questions either by YouTube personal messages, Facebook and Twitter, as you have links in the description for that below. Alright, so let's start. The first question is by David, and he asks, me and my friend were talking possibilities about the next expansion, and we came up with some pretty interesting ideas about where the next step in lore will be. First, we know that the Iron Horde will be gathered sometime before the Demon Pact made by Ner'zhul and Gul'dan. However, why is Gul'dan displayed as a green-skinned orc in Worlds of Draenor? I've tried checking the lore, and the green-skinned orc isn't necessarily green due to the drinking demon blood, but due to dabbling with the demon magic or being around it. Okay, here comes the question that I think are quite possible to ask. Is it possible that Worlds of Draenor's Gul'dan is still supporting the Burning Legion? Imagine for a moment, Gul'dan forwards information from World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria timeline to the Burning Legion, so they won't be able to make mistakes from pre-Worlds of Draenor timeline. Wouldn't Worlds of Draenor Burning Legion be complete at this point? Manrod, Kil'jaeden, Archimonde, etc. All Burning Legion would be wary of future events, and ready to strike again, sort of. That is some fearsome force to consider. And finally, a really cool idea. What if when heroes come back from Worlds of Draenor, they step back into a world where the Burning Legion has made landfall in Azeroth? Well, first of all, I believe that Chris Madsen already talked about Gul'dan being green, even though the Burning Legion isn't there. And I think he said that Gul'dan was kind of already on the phone with the Burning Legion, so I'm guessing he already has some connections going on with the Burning Legion, even though the Burning Legion is still not there. And orcs become green when they are exposed to fell magics, so I'm guessing that Gul'dan is already exposed to fell magics and he's planning some things with the Burning Legion, even though they're not the main bad guys here and are not entirely visible. Also, I don't see in which way Gul'dan would be able to forward the information from Mists of Pandaria, because he's in a different timeline and we kind of just join his world and he doesn't join ours, so we know what's going on in his world and he has no idea what's going on in ours. So yeah, I don't see in which way he could kind of connect the both worlds and change the future. Also, I don't think the Burning Legion would try to backdoor us, because some people will be going to the alternative timeline, but I'm guessing that there will be some sort of a portal where you can go through and there will still be contact with the other universe, like with Orgrimmar or Stormwind, so I'm guessing we should be safe, although the Burning Legion could invade in a future expansion. Okay, next. Izzy No Limit asks, what do you think about the Night Elves, their lore versus how Blizzard portrays them in the game? They've had 10,000 years to recover, one would think that they would be back in their territory. Also, I hate Tiranda's Russian/Jamaican accent in Siege of Orgrimmar. What are your thoughts? Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I completely agree with you, because I mean, if the Night Elves are more than 10,000 years older, they should be the strongest amongst the all playable races and maybe even amongst the other races, but I mean, if you see an orc or a human, they could possibly have around 40 to 50 years of training if they are really old, but usually it's around 20 years. So yeah, I mean, if you look at it, there is no way an orc or a human that only has around 20-30 years of training could defeat a Night Elf that has more than 10,000 years of training, and those 10,000 years would make the Night Elf an extremely skillful fighter. So they would be extremely hard to kill, so I mean, that is kind of hard to explain in the game. Also, Blizzard does that a lot, like they don't portray the same race in the game and in the lore, because I mean, they kind of have to adjust to the game. And when you look at it, around 90%, I'm guessing, of the World of Warcraft players don't even care about the story, so Blizzard kind of tries to cater to them so they don't have to sit through dialogues or cinematics. So yeah, I mean that happens in most of games because not many people just want to learn about the story. Also, it's kind of hard to implement because the game is not the same as the book, so you can't tell the story the same way because you have to make it playable. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that happens. And also, yeah, I believe that they changed the voice actor for Tyrande in World of Warcraft, but to be honest, I like the one from Warcraft 3 a lot better. Alright, next, Michael asks, based on seeing the new models for Worlds of Draenor characters, Droll and Welen, what do you think of them? I personally think Droll looks badass, but could lose the top knot and maybe go back to dreads on him. And I really like the whole jacketing going on there. As for Welen, I like it, but he should look more old, and this one he looks kind of buffed, and I think they could have done more with him. What are your thoughts on these models that MmoChampion released? Well, honestly, I really like the models, especially how they managed to model Duratan and Gromesh and Blackhand, as this is the first time you can actually see their unique models in the game. Although I don't really like Troll look as much because he looks kind of shorter and the entire ponytail thing doesn't really fit his style. So yeah, I think they should have just went with the usual haircut that he has had before, but the problem with that is they probably wanted to do something different with him and not keep the same look from Cataclysm. And about Welen, well, I would say that he looks pretty good, but he's pretty much the HD version of his previous model, but pretty much that's how he's supposed to look. I mean, he's 20-30,000 years old, so yeah, I don't think they could make him any more older because he's kind of immortal, I believe. But overall, I pretty much like all of the models, and pretty much all of the models they're gonna add in Worlds of Draenor because they look a lot better than the models that are currently in World of Warcraft. Okay, continuing on. Relana1 asks, do you think it is possible that in the next expansion Garrosh Hellscream is being manipulated in some way by the Burning Legion? Well, nothing is known as of yet, and I believe I answered this question a lot of times before, but no one really knows why Garrosh is doing what he's doing and under whose control the whole thing is happening. But Christy Golden's book War Crimes should be out in a few weeks from now, so we should be able to find out the connection between Garrosh and Kairos and why they are helping each other and what the big motive behind the entire plot is. Alright, next on, J Super asks, where are the champions of Azeroth / our characters in the lore, and would things be the same without us? Well, I'm guessing that things wouldn't be the same without the players, because Blizzard is adjusting World of Warcraft towards the players and towards a multiplayer game, and it wouldn't be the same if it was a single player game, because if it was a single player it would definitely be different because you would have the main characters and just the regular soldiers. So yeah, I mean the story would definitely be different. However, it would be really cool if they added some recognition for all the things you have done, as well as, for example, we supposedly passed through Outland, Northrend, and we killed so many evil creatures, and the city guards, I mean, they still recognize you as a new recruit and not really much happens. So it would be cool if they added something like that, like in Skyrim, where the recognition from the other NPCs would depend on the previous adventures you have been in. So yeah, that would be a cool feature they could add. Okay, continuing on. Olven Mage S asks, I was wondering if you managed to reforge Frostmourne, would it still eat a part of the wielder's soul, and would Bolvar, since Ner'zhul was destroyed with Arthas, be able to communicate through the blade like Ner'zhul did with Arthas? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't work the same way as before, because Ner'zhul made the blade and planted it deep inside Northrend, so an adventurer like Arthas would may be able to find it, so he would be able to use the blade to free him from Kil'jaeden's prison. So I believe that the sword is bound to Ner'zhul only, but now it is debatable whether a part of Ner'zhul is still inside the crown, because the book says otherwise. But then again, I mean, the books aren't fully canon, so if Ner'zhul's soul is still inside the Lich King, I would say that Lich King could communicate through Frostmourne, but if it's not, which most likely the case is, then no, the blade wouldn't be the same as it was before. Alright, and the last question is by Max, and he asks, aren't the Forsaken only high elves? Well, I mean, they were at the start, at least Sylvanas. Like, when Arthas went through Eastern Kingdom, he had slain a bunch of people, and most of those people joined the Scourge, if not all. And then when he weakened up, some of his minions managed to free themselves. So yeah, I mean, Sylvanas was the leader of the ones that freed themselves, but not all of those people were elves, because most of the people Arthas had slain were humans, as he destroyed the entire Lordaeron. It's kind of hard to tell today, because the only undead models there are humans. So it would be really cool if they could add like sub-races to the undead, so like you can be a high elf undead or any other undead. So yeah, I mean, that could be possible in the future, but I don't think anything has been said on that subject. Okay, and that is all I have for today, so thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your questions either via YouTube messages, Q&A comment section, or Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching, and see you next time.